Thursday, PFT OT. Chris Simms' birthday, PFT OT. And we're still making you work overtime, Chris, even though it's your birthday. You can eat your cake later, baby. And we're going to start as we do. How'd you feel your birthday show went, by the way? Happy with it? Were you happy with the little tricks and the little gimmicks we had for you?
Some of that was very funny and embarrassing. It was really good. It flustered me at the start of our 7 o'clock hour because I know when we got into the Jadeveon Clowney segment, I blabbered and couldn't finish thoughts or anything. But I got back on track. I got focused, and now I'm on to Cincinnati.
And I will say this. 2 years ago, you used to do that all the time.
Oh, thanks.
Now, you rarely do it.
Okay.
I mean, you really have improved. It's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get. Although some people, they get to a level and they never get any better no matter how long they keep doing it. I'm kind of at that point. But, yeah, it was funny because it took me back to 2 years ago when I would be sitting here saying, when is this guy going to shut the hell up? So it was fun. It was a little nostalgia.
Okay, good.
Nostalgia.
Good.
All right. Let's get right to it, and then we'll shut up for the rest of the day. NFLPA looking into the Cowboys directly dealing with players, cutting around the agents. And this is amazing. They've done this for years, and it's never really been a thing until yesterday when I saw Mike Garafolo of NFL Network kind of bravely throwing one of the owners of the network under the bus by saying, yeah, these guys are notorious for dealing directly with players. And I don't think people realized, in part because the Cowboys have been so blatant about it, that it's a problem.
Yeah.
That the agent who represents the player is the representative of the NFL Players Association, certified by the union, regulated by the union. You can't go around that person and go right to the player and say, forget about that guy. That guy's just trying to complicate things. We don't need a third party involved in our affairs. We can work this deal out directly, and then we got to pay the guy 3%. You're better off without an agent altogether. I mean, the owners would love the players to not have agents.
Of course they would.
And the Cowboys act like some of them don't have agents, apparently, Chris.
No, I know. And, just as much as the owners would love if the players, negotiated, the players would love if the owners played football. They really would. Ooh, Ezekiel Elliott would be really awesome if Jerry Jones was playing defensive tackle for most teams. That's, again, I respect this, that Jerry Jones has these relationships with his star players. It's really cool. You could tell the players love Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones because they do feel like ownership's in their corner maybe more than other football teams. And it does look that way to me on the outside looking in. But at the end of the day, I mean, come on. I mean, the agents are schooled at this. They are professionals at negotiating, and so are the owners. Players are not. This is not their avenue of success more times than not. Yeah, there's a few, one every 1,000 players that might be good at some of these negotiating tactics or things like that. But as a whole, players play football, okay? And players, the other issue here, Mike, that would just scare me is like players are pleasers. Like they want to please everybody in the organization. They really are. I want to play football. I want my coach to like me because I play hard and do all those things and I perform on the field. And the same feelings are for the owners. And if the owner got in their ear in this type of things, yeah, I think they would make players bend to things where they would go 2 years down the road. Why the hell did I think of that or do that?
Yeah, I agree with you completely. I mean, put yourself in that spot, Chris. If when you were playing for the Buccaneers, John Gruden brings you into the office and you think you're going to talk about the game plan or watch film, and he decides he wants to hammer out your contract right there, forget about the GM, forget about the agent. Let's just get this done. I mean, it should cause for any player who's in that spot the alarms to start blaring.
Yes.
You don't want to do that. You don't want to let yourself get influenced by that pressure because that's why you have an agent. You step away from the process so you don't have to deal with those people that you work for.
Yeah, the owners are masters of this. This is why they're successful business people. And it's not going to be like at face value, I'm sure a lot of things would look the same if a player negotiated his contract as compared to an agent, where you'd go, oh, I mean, look at that number. That's such a big number. That's sexy. It's the little intricate details of a contract that the agent's worth, the protections, the guarantees for injury, all of those little things that really a player is not going to be nuanced about, where the agent really comes in handy. Yeah, the player knows the borderline, I want this much money and this much guaranteed, but it's all the other stuff that's really important, and that's the worth of the agent.
All right, let's move along to the concept of replay review for pass interference. And there's a bunch of different angles here that we have talked about in recent weeks. One thing that really crystallized for me yesterday when talking to NFL Senior VP of Officiating Al River on the procedure for handling Hail Mary plays. Now, there was talk at one point about coming up with a formula for when it was a Hail Mary and when it's not, some objective thing, how many yards, how many guys in the end zone. They've ultimately decided this. And Chris, I'm always a little nervous when there's a procedure that isn't reflected in the rule book. And the procedure is they treat pass interference differently on Hail Mary plays. They just do. They tolerate contact there that you wouldn't tolerate during a normal play. But there's nothing in the rule book allowing that. And that in and of itself, because you want to know what the standard is. What's the rule? Well, it's just what we think it is. And it's just, you know it when you see it. Well, sometimes you think you see it, but you don't see it. And sometimes you think you know it, but you don't know it.
Yeah.
But here's what I know. Al Riveron said yesterday that for Hail Mary plays that do have this different standard, that different standard is going to be part of replay review. So this loose, certain amounts of contact are okay on a Hail Mary play. That's the same standard that Al Riveron's going to apply. Easier said than done.
Yes.
Because it's one thing to be in the scrum and not pull your flag out in that moment. It's another thing to be watching the film after the fact, seeing the visual evidence, and maybe you see something, you say, that crosses the line. Well, what line? We don't even know where the line is.
No, we don't know the line. You're right. And really, I mean, they're opening Pandora's box for a lot of public criticism with this type of stuff. I mean, they really are, because you're right. It's a Hail Mary. There could be, 8, 10 guys all in a mosh pit, right? And from the very definition of PI in the rule book, there's a lot of pass interference that goes on in those type of situations. But I think what I get from Al Riveron and listen to him talk more than anything, it's going to have to be overly egregious in a Hail Mary type of situation for them to call it. Like literally a DB's going to have to jump on the back of a receiver and, put him in a headlock, or really pull the jersey to where we see a jersey like extend and go, oh my gosh, the guy can't jump. And we see his shoulder pad because the jersey's been pulled that far. I guess it's going to be those type of things, but you're right. We're going to watch replays and people are going to go, that's pass interference. That's pass interference. And Al Riveron's going to have to explain to people not on a Hail Mary, and it's just going to cause criticism and uproar everywhere.
And I hope that he can adhere to that higher bar when he is watching frame by frame. I've seen him explain some plays from last year that weren't called interference on the field that he claims would be called interference under this new standard. And it concerns me because I personally believe that the bar should be, as I've said before, what the hell? As in, if you see it, and they don't throw the flag, what the hell's going on here? Right. It's got to be that blatant. And a lot of these plays, when he shows it, I can see why he says after the fact it's pass interference, but it's not so glaring and it's not so blatant that I think you should disregard the subjective judgment of the officials on the field.
Yes.
And in the Hail Mary setting, it's going to be even more of a challenge because he's going to see something in slow motion that the officials didn't see. And what's he going to do then? And how do you ensure consistency when, again, there isn't a rule? What is it? You can't say you know it when you see it as the official rule book. And if that's the case, add a line in the rule book. For Hail Mary plays, we will know them when we see them. And when Hail Mary plays happen, we will know what is permissible and what isn't. That's no way to run the National Football League. And I'm not saying I have a better suggestion, but I think it's dangerous to have no standard for spotting a Hail Mary play when you activate this looser standard, and to have no articulated standard of what the looser standard is, Chris. And then on top of all of it, you're going to try to apply that standard to replay review. This has the potential to be a huge problem in the wrong game, high-profile regular season game, playoff game, Super Bowl. It's got the potential to be a nightmare for the NFL, bigger than the nightmare that has caused replay review to descend on pass interference.
I agree. I think this can be, and again, this is why I was not in favor of any of this. I really wasn't. I mean, it was, I know it was a horrible mistake, but it was 1 in 53 years, or at least one in my lifetime, that I can really look at and go, ooh, that was so horrible. I've never seen anything like that. Yes, I think in a lot of ways, it's really the basic fan who just turns on football on Sundays and doesn't really pay attention to it, and maybe is just a little bit of like a fantasy person. So I want to say maybe less than the basic fan is what I'm saying. I think they're going to see a lot of plays like you're talking about where they're going to go, wait, this is being reviewed, and that looks like pass interference to me. And Al Riveron is going to err on the side of the judgment that was called on the field, and it's going to have to be overly egregious for him to overturn some of these plays. He's not just going to let like a hand on the shoulder go, oh, yep, that was pass interference. Yep, throw that flag out there. We're overturning that call. No, from what we've seen and the examples we've seen, it's going to have to be something really stunning, even on replay, to go, he definitely hindered significantly the wide receiver trying to catch a football.
Well, let's hope that's the case. Let's hope that this solution doesn't make the problem even worse than it was. All right, the NFL has a preseason problem insofar as the preseason is too long. And the linkage of shortening the preseason and expanding the regular season, diminishing the connection between shortening the preseason and expanding the playoffs, gaining momentum. Mark Maskey of the Washington Post had a story on Wednesday, Chris, that expanded playoffs are more likely replacement for part of the preseason than expanded regular season. We talked about expanded playoffs yesterday. I know you're not a fan of them, but one thing I want to make clear, the NFL has the ability to shrink the preseason anytime they want. They just don't want to do it without a way to offset the revenue they will lose.
Of course not.
And they seem to think they can expand the playoffs without the consent of the NFLPA. They're wrong on that, or they would have done it already. The NFL Players Association has to agree to the addition of games, even if it's only 2 more games. Now, I personally think if you're going to have extra games in the wild card round and make the 2 seed play the 7 seed who currently doesn't get in, I think the 8 seed needs to be in and the 1 seed needs to play that weekend. I don't like the idea of only 1 team per conference getting a bye, making that advantage even stronger, making that 1 seed even more valuable, making the presumption even stronger that the 1 seed is going to the Super Bowl. I don't like that. I say if you're going to expand it to 16, make the 1 seed play wild card round, and have 4 extra wild card games, not 2. Chris, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily like that. I don't. I mean, first off, then, why do you even want to be the 1 seed, really? I mean, okay. I mean, that's a great.
Because you play the 8th seed, and the 8th seed's the worst team in the playoff field.
Okay, great. I mean, so what? I mean, some teams might go, damn, it looks like the 7 team's worse than the 8 team. Let's be the 2 seed. There's got to be some reward for winning the regular season more than just that itself. And I do think that I of course, like the current status. And I don't like the no bye thing. No, yes, it's an advantage for the teams that have the bye. I get that. They've earned it by winning in the regular season, and now they get a week of rest to be at their absolute best. That's everybody else's fault. That's not their fault. So I don't necessarily like that. I would like to find, if we're going to do it, I saw one explanation of maybe all 4 division winners get a bye on the first weekend, and then the 5 through 8s kind of play each other, and then they figure out how to mix and match the next next round, however it may be. Either way, I don't want to see it before I confuse this situation.
But wait.
Right.
That's not going to create more games in the wild card round. You're going to have you're going to have 5 through 8 in each conference play each other in the wild card round. You still have the same number of games.
I know it's still going to have the same number of games, but at least there's a reward for some teams to win their division and get a first-round bye. I mean, I am in favor of that, first off. Second off, I don't want it anyways.
You're talking about an extra round.
Right.
You're talking about, okay. So there would be a pre-wild card round where 5 through 8 whittle them down to 2 teams, and then you start with the normal wild card round, then the division. It's an extra week of football. Here's the thing. It adds an extra week, and it pushes the Super Bowl 1 week closer to President's Day weekend, which the NFL would love to do.
Yeah.
And maybe the ultimate end result here is 2 preseason games, 17 regular season games, and that 5 through 8 extra round of the wild card, a pre-wild card round. I kind of like that. But then here's what happens.
Yeah.
Here's what happens. The 1 and the 2 seed, Chris, end up getting 2 buys.
They might get 2 buys. Yes, I know. Yeah. And that I don't even know if that's a good thing either. To have 2 weeks
without
not
playing games.
I know. That's scary. That's scary. So, I mean, I guess I have to, work this through my brain a little. But also what I'm scared of is just a watered-down product to a degree, a little bit. There's been years where I just go, I know we've had years where the 6 seed's been phenomenal. We've seen the 6 seed win the Super Bowl, go to the Super Bowl, do all those things. And, yes, but there's been other years where I think we all go, damn. The 6 seed, they stink. The 5 seed, they stink. They have no chance. So 5, 6, 7, and 8, I don't even want to see them. This is a waste of time. And that's what I worry about, too, a little bit. So that's my thought.
Yeah, you're letting half the league into the playoffs. How many is too many? And if you got 32 teams, is 16 too many? That's why I think if they do it, it's going to be 14. They're going to add 2 extra wild card games. They will be, and I think what they need to do is take advantage of Monday night. Play one of those wild card games on Monday night and make sure that whoever wins doesn't play until the following Sunday, so they at least have, some rest before they play their next game, or have that winner play the following Monday. But if they want to generate the revenue, the kind of revenue that's going to offset the loss of the preseason, they need to take full advantage of the primetime windows, and they're currently staying away from Monday night. They need to embrace Sunday night and Saturday night as much as they possibly can in the wild card round. All right, next up, we've talked a lot about Carli Lloyd and her aspiration to become a kicker in the National Football League. Keenan Allen had some pushback recently on Twitter, basically saying, yeah, it's all fine until there's a kick block, and then it's like the Stampede scene from The Lion King. I don't like the presumption that Carli Lloyd's not going to be able to take care of herself because she's a woman. Look at some of the kickers over the years who have been required to take care of themselves in a difficult situation, whether it's Garo Yepremian, who had one of the most embarrassing moments of NFL history with that gaffe in Super Bowl VII when he decided to try to throw the ball when all hell broke loose.
Right.
Rich Carlos was running around out there without a shoe and a sock on one leg, and that was considered sufficiently safe. And then you got the Grammatica brothers, the celebration that tears the ACL. I mean, there have been plenty of unathletic kickers who have to go run and hide and take cover when all hell breaks loose on the football field. I don't know why that would be any different for Carli Lloyd.
I mean, 100%. I mean, and Mike, you made the point during one of our commercial breaks, because we talked about this for a second during the show today. You said, look at some quarterbacks in the NFL. Yeah, I could point out a lot of quarterbacks where they might as well just lay down after they threw the interception. They're doing nothing. They're running down the field to make it look like they're going after somebody, but when it comes time to take on the block or make the tackle, they somehow miss or slip and fall.
We don't want them to.
No.
Do you want Aaron Rodgers to sprint down the field to try to make the tackle and pull his hamstring?
Not unless it's the playoffs or the Super Bowl or a game to get into the playoffs, something like that. It has to be a big moment. You're right. The worth of his team, his worth to the team is far greater than him making that tackle and maybe getting hurt and then being done for the year. So I'm with you on this fight all the way. I don't even care if Carli Lloyd field goal gets blocked. I mean, if she just falls down and sits there, fine. That's fine with me. I don't care. Most kickers, they're basically doing that anyways. They're just trying to please their coach by look, my arms are moving and my legs are moving. I'm running. Yeah, great. You're running. You're not trying to do anything. So I'm with you. I'm not worried about that aspect of it.
Think of how many teams right now are struggling to find a reliable kicker. If you can inspire soccer players who happen to be female to aspire to and train to become football kickers and maybe decide when they're 8 years old, not when they're 37 like Carli Lloyd is, that this is something they want to do, you are expanding your pool of available talent because clearly there are females who can kick the hell out of a football. You may as well identify it, nurture it, get it in high school football, college football, and that's the way to do it. And that's why this Carli Lloyd thing is important, because there are going to be girls coast to coast who see this and say, I think I want to do that, and I think I can do that. And 20 years from now, one of them will be doing that, if not sooner. Chris.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. I hope it does go that way. I think it would be good for the sport in a lot of different areas. Of course, grow the sport, maybe give a little more knowledge to people out there who are scared of football altogether to realize, okay, this isn't as barbaric as I thought it is. And, not all these people are batter jerks. And, yeah, I'm with you. I hope it happens. I'm hoping Carli Lloyd goes for it next year. I really am.
One last point. I want to tap into your John Gruden experience from your time in Tampa Bay. Gruden said earlier this week that he wants the team to take more vertical shots in the passing game this year. They've got better receivers. They've got a better line. And also there's that chance that you throw out the red challenge flag, and even if the pass was incomplete, Al Riveron determines that there was defensive pass interference. How much of that is directed at the quarterback, and how much pressure does it put on Derek Carr to deliver those deep balls that John Gruden wants.
Yeah, I think it's totally directed at the quarterback. I mean, that to me, and just my thesaurus of cryptic John Gruden language, right? Basically what he's saying is we're not being aggressive enough in practice. I got these weapons called Antonio Brown, Tyrell Williams, and J.J. Nelson who can fly, and we got to stop worrying about completion percentage or, taking the easy way out and hitting the 4-yard shallow cross when Antonio Brown, has got to step on a guy 50 yards down the field. He wants it to be launched down there. It's the name of the game right now. I do think the day and age of we're going to dink and dunk and throw 3- and 4-yard passes, we're seeing it kind of go away. And I know the Saints are getting away with it. The Saints are special. Sean Payton's special. They also have one of the best O-lines in football in a run game that helps all that too with the Taysom Hill package. But for everybody else, and you've heard me say this before, other than turnovers, the number one play that dictates winning and losing games is plus 20-yard plays, explosive plays in a football game. And I think that's where John Gruden sees it. Defenses have gotten used to, all these short passes, these wide receiver screens, bubble screens, all of those things. That's why Seattle's defense became so popular. It took away all of that crap. To now, I think we're seeing a little bit of an old school mentality. And I will say, I think Derek Carr has been a little bit less aggressive the last few years, and I'm sure John Gruden sees that, and he's trying to kind of push him into that mode.
And I really do think that this is the year that Derek Carr has to become the guy that John Gruden is comfortable with, or next year we're going to be talking about someone else playing quarterback for the Oakland Raiders. This is the test when they are the Las Vegas Raiders next year.
Yeah.
All right, that's it for this Thursday PFTOT. Chris, enjoy your birthday. Are you doing a Chris Simms Unbuttoned today?
I am. I'm going to do that here in a little bit. So, look forward to NFC over-unders. We're going to talk some ball and even dive into a little Notre Dame and college football just a little bit today.
Since the big effort wasn't there when you were born, is he going to be involved in your birthday edition of Chris Simms Unbuttoned?
Nope, he's not. He's got to go on the road and do something for CBS, so he cannot come on today. I'm just hoping knowing my dad, I'll get a phone call like 11:30 tonight going, hey, happy birthday. That's how my dad usually works. He'll remember around 11 o'clock tonight that it was my birthday.
All right, well, Chris, happy birthday. Have a great day, buddy, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, man. See ya.